You know, our ancestors, prior to Western contact, used all the natural resources around them, and for their hale, their homes, and their other building structures, one of the materials they used for thatching on their roof or on the sides of the building was this pili grass, pili grass, and some of this grass grew very long. And what they would do is gather this, bundle it, and dry it, and then tie these bundles like shingles to create thatching. So pili grass, this is pili, was used, and sometimes they use the palm leaves of the lolu palm. Sometimes they use hala leaves. They use cane leaves. They use tea leaves. But the preferred was this pili grass. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to be showing you how this kind of thatching was done. So, but right now, suffice to say, take a look at this grass, and for most of us, it's just a bunch of weeds. But to our ancient Hawaiians, this was a very special resource for thatching. We're on the southern boundary of the Kaloko-Honokohau National Historic Park, and it says a komomai, meaning welcome, come in. But we're going to be going into some petroglyph fields and then taking a short walk down to an area called Aiopio. It's a fish trap, fish pond, and we're going to see some of the activities that are going on there right now. But right now, let's take a quick look into the southern boundary and see if we can find some petroglyphs. Here's a few of the petroglyphs. They're very faint because you can hardly see with the sun and the shadows. But maybe I can point out here. This is the head and the chest and the arms, yeah, of a stick figure. If you look carefully, there may be other figures, but these petroglyphs are very mysterious. We're not quite sure exactly why they were put here, but they were etched and braided into this pahoi lava, which is really smooth. It's almost like a chalkboard for the ancient Hawaiians, and they left these markings throughout the islands. They're called petroglyphs, and for them they had many different kinds of meanings and interpretations. So this is a sample of some really ancient petroglyphs. Later on, we're going to show you some that perhaps are more contemporary. Yeah. Our kupuna were intrigued with these floating islands with a huge mass and ships, and someone actually came here to etch the ship and it's all of its rigging on the ship. And of course, they were really intrigued with their weaponry. And here we see a cannon. Here we go. This is the stand. See the stand here? And the cannon. Yeah? And of course, this to the ancient Hawaiian, man, when they saw this firing, boy, they had never seen anything like that. And so someone came here and made a petroglyph of a cannon. So, up till late in the 18th century, 19th century, they were still doing petroglyphs. Here's another stick figure. Here we see the feet, the legs, the torso, the head, shoulders, and the arms. Very typical petroglyph of a human figure. We're still here on the southern boundary of Kalok-Honokohau Historical Park, and what we see here is Aiopio Fish Pond, or some say Fish Trap. It was one of three major fish ponds in the park, and we believe that this one might have been used to raise the young fish before transferring them into the other pond. When the tide is up, This is one good place where you can see turtles swimming and lying all over the beaches here. Here on the shores of Aiopio Fish Pond, we have a sample of a multi-purpose structure. For Hawaiians, they would call this hale. It could be a hale or halau, or building for canoes, for gathering, for shade, for sleeping, for multi-purpose. And we're trying to build this in a traditional manner using traditional material. Of course, we got scaffolding to make it easier. Our ancient ancestors had scaffolding, made of pieces of wood, that was lashed. But the design is still the same. And the thatching that you see here is very similar to the grass that you saw earlier, pili grass. This is not pili, this is broom grass. It looks very much like pili, but it's the same kind of thatching, and it's tied on with bundles, and they make quite a beautiful roof. May I introduce you to Mele Barton, part Hawaiian and employee of the park with the Hawaii Natural History Association here. And Mele will be weaving some lau hala. Lau, the Hawaiian word for leaf. Hala is the pandanus plant. And our ancient ancestors had many uses for the hala, for the pandanus. Right in the back of Mele, we see a young hala tree. And this one will be growing, it grows quite tall, but those are the leaves. When they're dried, they're processed, the thorns removed from the edges, and Hawaiians wove them into many very useful things. I'll let Mele explain all the different things that were woven from this hala. But again, another example of how Hawaiians are interpreting, demonstrating, and perpetuating different cultural and traditional practices. Weaving hala, lau hala. Mele, can you tell us what you're making, please?
Okay, I do honos for the park.
Honu, what is honu?
Hono is turtle, and we have green sea turtle in the park. So we're just trying to, help the park by selling turtles. And so I'm doing a turtle to represent the green sea turtle. And I also do bracelets for the park and also fans for the park.
What else did the our kupuna use the hala for? What else did they
Okay,
use?
especially they would use it for mats, and the greatest thing I think of using hala is what they use for the sail, for the canoes, and that was something special about the hala that they did.
Where they were really plentiful, was also used for thatching. They would use folded like that, and there'd be a whole row of them overlapping, and they would be used for thatching. Besides the pili grass that you just saw, would be hala. So again, here at Kaloko-Honokohau, we do have Native Hawaiians who are demonstrating and perpetuating these cultural arts, and in one way, helping to interpret and share their cultures with the rest of the world. Thank you very much, Mele.
Okay, you're welcome.